Hello, I'm Topaz, and welcome to a video chatting about Legend of Exorcism Volume 5 and unboxing Volume 6. I really wanted to make a video chatting about Volume 5 because so much happened in it and I loved reading it so much. It was originally going to be a longer video, more in the vein of the videos I've made chatting about Legend of Exorcism before, but I am really tired and busy right now, and Volume 6 is about to come out, and mine has arrived early. So I just wanted to make a shorter video with an overview of some of my thoughts about Volume 5, and then hopefully later down the line I will be able to make a longer video chatting more in detail about Volume 5 because so much happened in it. Volume 5 kind of felt like a real transition volume for me in the way the narrative was being told and the focus on different characters. It felt like the focus went out a lot more to different characters and their different perspectives and feelings than in previous volumes. You had the whole arc with Langlu at the beginning and you really got to see Lu Shu's thoughts during that, and that was so intense and amazing. You had the arc with Zhao Zilong, you're following him on his own little adventure, which is crazy. You had getting to see Atai and Turandot on their own missions, and with everyone being split up in the tower as well, and also even getting a scene following from Yang Yuhuan's perspective with a scene with her and Xie Yu and Li Longji. There were so many different threads in this volume, and I really loved that, and I feel like that's testament to how the story has been built so far, that now the power can kind of, spread out to so many different characters and their different perspectives. And it's so interesting, reading that, just looking at it from the perspective of like the department and their missions. At the very much at the beginning, it's very kind of condensed in the way that Li Jinglong is kind of holding the power, and the characters don't really know each other very well. Whereas now, everyone knows each other so well, and there is so much happening that everyone does need to be stepping up and doing their own things kind of independently of each other. The first arc was so intense, and I loved the progression we got on Langlu's relationship. I find it so interesting how different their vibe is from Longjune's. Like, when the story is following Longjune, I feel like I'm watching like a D&D rom-com kind of vibe, and then it switches to Langlu, and we've got drama, bit of like psychological and body horror in there, like some kind of dubious consent as well in bits of this arc, I would say, and so much wacky dream stuff happening as well, and that switch I find so interesting, and also so satisfying. You get both of those really different vibes in the same story. I felt bad for Lu Shu with how much pressure was put on him to be physically and psychologically dealing with Morgan in his demon kind of state during that arc, but it was interesting how it kind of made Lu Shu sort of reflect on his relationship with Morgan, and I loved the scene with him and Chu Youngster chatting about stuff, and also when Longjune did return back from Luoyang, when you had that scene with Lu Shu and Hongjun just chatting, that broke my heart. Having Lu Shu, who it's mentioned I think in that scene, I think is like quite a contradictory character, like he likes Morgan but he won't say anything, he's injured but he won't ask for help, be so tired that, and granted it's around Hongjun, who he is probably the closest to and is most comfortable emotionally sharing with out of all the other exorcists, but still, he's so tired that he's just like, I'm tired, hold me. That, like, I don't know, felt so real and so relatable, that feeling of when you're just so emotionally and physically worn down that you're like, just hold me, that's it, can't, nothing else, just hold me. That just felt so strong and really took me by surprise. And again, I love Hongjun and Lu Shu's dynamic and relationship together. They are so strong, and it makes me so happy. Once Longjun have returned to the department, I found it interesting seeing them kind of slotting back into everything, and then all of the planning going on for this, really, really big mission that could really turn the tide on this kind of almost war they've been fighting in some ways. Speaking of wars, we'll get to that later. And again, the fact that there are so many different groups in that mission, all doing different things, and I really love the way it switched between each of those. The scene when Hongjun and Li Jinglong get time alone in the evening after they have returned, and Li Jinglong is like, we need a schedule, that sent me and was the inspiration for a meme I made that has over 100,000 views on Instagram. Is this my legacy? Is this my legacy? It was a funny meme. What can I say? I did not expect it to blow up that much and be full of people asking me in the comments what the name of this series is. Even though it's in the tags. Read the tags. Anyway, that to me felt like he was really just clinging on to some kind of stability and like getting to actually spend time with his boyfriend and being like, please, can we just have a schedule? Which, yeah, stability not happening because, like, it's literally later that night that there is both Morgan showing up to confront Lu Shu and then Levi and Linguinian showing up to talk plans. So man is not getting a break now he's back at the department. I loved all the different perspectives, like I've said, for that main mission. It almost felt like watching an action film, you know, with like, it was amazing seeing Hongjun with Levi and Linguinian getting to do some cool stuff and kind of be the only Exorcist member in that group, kind of put him in a bit more of a leadership role, which was interesting, and being very cool in that fight. And then having Atai and Ashina Ardavan dealing with An Lushan. I found that scene, I don't know, difficult to read. I didn't feel like there wasn't much kind of attention given to the extent to which Atai was putting himself in harm's way of being sort of physically assaulted by An Lushan. That felt very, I don't know, I know it was meant to feel icky to read, but it did. The part where they're running away, and they're like, wait, have we got the right ring? Oh yeah, no, he's chasing us, we've got the right ring. Was very funny though, very D&D campaign. The stuff with Lu Shu and Morgan, in that perspective, I love their fight scenes so much. They felt so much like just watching an action film, and I wasn't really confused with what was happening at any point. Lu Shu doing like mid-air kisses and weaving energy around Morgan to put him into the dreamscape. So cool. I loved getting to see bits of their story kind of woven together in that kind of series of dreamscapes. And scenes from this life and past lives and dreams was really interesting. I found it a bit confusing to read at the time. Granted, I was recovering from being sick, so who knows. But it was really good, and I feel like it was a great way of kind of introducing you more into their perspective, because obviously the story has mostly been focused on Longjun so far, although I do kind of wish it had been introduced a bit more gradually. I was not expecting the scene that Lu Shu had planted in Morgan's brain just fully to be a sex dream. That was not what I was expecting. And obviously there are some very, you know, obvious, I don't know, issues with consent surrounding that, because like Morgan does ask what Lu Shu put in the dream, and Lu Shu's like, just some ordinary everyday stuff. Nothing about that dream was ordinary or everyday. It was really sweet seeing other kind of wholesome interactions between the two of them in that dreamscape. And then obviously when, you know, Marcus comes back to himself and, you know, their first time between each other, that was a lot. Oh, again, entire lack of preparation going on there. I feel like this is a theme I've noticed in Feitian's stories, but anyway. The big battle when you had all the exes coming together to fight An Lushan and Xiaoyu was so satisfying to watch, and I loved the fact that it was fully their plan to like get Xiaoyu to use the hourglass and then destroy the hourglass, and just Ashina Ardavan just like standing up and being like, oh my gosh, it's like, that was really uncomfortable. You had me lying down for ages. That was so funny. You really got to see all the exorcists using their powers in different ways and working together, and it was so satisfying. And then you had Li Donglong trying to sacrifice himself. That was terrifying. I was not expecting that on any level. And that really shocked me that he would do that. And I mean, didn't work, thankfully. But it's really interesting to have such a build-up to that fight, and then for it to kind of end in a stalemate, you know? It fits with where we are in the story, but it's really, I feel like, interesting from a dynamics point of view, of how sort of like we've got up to this point, and instead of kind of going past on in like a I guess, stereotypical trajectory for this kind of story, the story kind of like branches out to the side, and obviously by the end of the story, you know, you have Xiaoyu, I don't know what that man's doing, and Lushan starting a goddamn war, you know, not kind of quite necessarily what you would expect. And I was so mad that An Lushan got away. He is my least favorite character in the story. I wish so many bad things to happen to him. Totally not because he reminds me of specific world leaders and the way he abuses his power and the kind of criminal activities he undertakes. Not at all. Anyway, the fallout from the end of that fight, with Hongjun being really upset with Li Jinglong for very good reasons, was so difficult to read. I cried reading that. The fact that Li Jinglong had fully thought about how all of this would affect Hongjun if he wasn't there anymore, he'd still decided to do it. That broke my heart. And I also just wanted to, like, hit him with a chair. Because on one level he's thought this through so much, on another level I don't feel like he's thought it through at all in thinking that Hongjun would move on and would forget him in that way. I do not think he would. And it's so sad, especially with how, you know, in the last volume he was saying to Hongjun, like, you gotta not sacrifice yourself. And then what does he go and do in this volume? Try sacrifice himself. Then the story kind of moved on to the arc with Chi Youngsa and the Dragon Falling Tower, which also was like a massive kind of shift in tone. And I loved how you get to see the Exorcists interacting on the boat and kind of being more chill together. You get to see Li Jinglong explaining how his reasoning works, which was really cool. And following this new lead they got on where the other artifacts might be, which is interesting. I'm interested to see if that will kind of form a template for the following arcs we're going to get in the next few volumes or not. I don't know. The whole lore drop on kind of Chu Youngsa's past and also Hongjun's past, and the fact that they have their mothers were different incarnations of the same minor goddess? What? I loved getting to see more of Chu Youngsa's character and how sad he is about everything he says about like how much the department means to him, and he's just fully getting ready, again, sacrifice himself, a bit like Jinglong, and just go into the tower for 100 years and not reappear, and he was just going to do that. Idiot. And then everyone gets thrown into the tower. Not gonna lie, the whole stuff with the time being different freaked me out. I don't know. Probably that idea of time passing and you not being there apparently triggers me. Good to know. Probably related to being chronically ill, but that triggers me. But anyway. Because they are in there for over a year. And that idea of over a year passing outside and during that time, like, a war starts. Like, that's terrifying. And it was so interesting seeing the dynamics of the characters when they're inside of the tower. Like, Hongjun and Chi Youngsa together are so sweet and so chaotic. I love how they're just, like, I don't know, like, they're the two characters who are just screaming the most. And just, like, matching each other's energy in that way. And Jinglong just being so worried. And Jinglong and Ashina Ardavan as well, which is a funny duo to see. The bit when they're about to go into the tower and Tarandok, like, says, kind of like, take care, and Li Jinglong is like, yes, I will, or something. And then Ashina Ardavan is like, she's not talking to you! She barely knows you! So funny to me, because I feel like he's the only one who would talk to Jinglong like that, and I don't know, it's just satisfying to see. As was the scene with Li Jinglong, with Longjun and Ashina Ardavan later on when Chu Youngsa is chatting with all the dragons. When Ashina Ardavan is kind of like seeing how far he can tease them. That was really funny, especially when Li Jinglong manages to like get him by being like, oh yeah, I'll set you up with Chu Youngsa, and he's just like, his face drops, like, what? You mean the nerd? I don't know, that sent me. I loved that so much. And the dragons are really cool characters as well. I was not expecting the whole arc with Longjun in the Abyss, and it was so sweet there, how strongly bonded they are in that bit of just like the two of them just falling together, and that moment when they're just like, they're so together. And I love how like physically affectionate they are just all the time with each other. It just, even when there's all stuff happening, like, I kind of love that that's woven, a thread that's woven through. It's not like, you know, in bits. It's like, if you have Longjun together, they're going to be lovey-dovey. They're so in love. And so insatiable. Trying to find the right artifact and the fact that Li Jinglong can't wield it was really interesting. And kind of put him into a position, kind of was an interesting contrast of him sort of being given the blessing of the dragons and everything, and sort of this feeling of great power, to then feeling powerless in the situation of not being able to wield this power that he thought he could, even though he probably was aware that he couldn't and he was trying to bluff. Like, that is interesting, and it kind of puts you back to sort of Li Jinglong at the beginning, who was really struggling with the fact he really wanted to be able to be in this position, wield this power, and he couldn't. and the way Hongjun supports him through that. I'm so excited to see where the story is going to go next. Obviously, we know sort of that Luciu and Mergen have been kind of watching things and seeing what's going on, and Ashina and Tarandoct and Atai have been investigating where the different artifacts might be as well. As well as Luciu and Mergen, I think, were also doing that, and I loved getting some of their lore and background. That was so juicy. We don't really know what's going to be happening with Xie Yu, and how are they going to, what's going to be happening with the war, because they can't really fight in the war because of their powers, but, it's going to have a massive effect on them, no doubt, and it's very interesting that sort of, I don't know where it's going to go. I have no idea where the story is going to go, and I'm so excited. I cannot wait to read more of it. It's absolutely hilarious to me. Every other time, I have been ready to read the book on the day it gets released, and it just never shows up until like a week, 2 weeks later, and I'm just sat there like, please let it arrive, I want to read it. This time, I have not finished Golden Terrace yet, and then I need to finish The Unmagical Life of Briar Jones, which I've got over 100 pages on. So I would not be ready to read it on the release date, but that's fine, right? Because it won't come for another 2 weeks. No, it came yesterday. Of course. Not that I'm not happy to have it here. I'm very happy to have it here, and I'm about to open it. But still, come on, guys. Like, be so for real. I have package. Ready to open it? Let's see what's in here while I try and not dox myself. Let's see what's in here. I know what's in here. I'm more than aware what's in here. Okay. How do I... Okay, you ready? You ready? I'm not ready. Are you ready? Let's go. Fog of War! Look at like his top. I don't know words. Leeching Long is not having a good time. Okay. I love Hongjun's like I love how much older he looks than in the first volume. Like, okay, come back, stay there. Look how much the boys have grown and how much more traumatized they are. Like, he's just like the subtle like sharpening of his features and how much more worldly and traumatized he looks. I don't know, that makes me happy. But damn, he's still wearing the same top and like Jinglong fully with his titties out. He's not having a good time either. Look, I just love the way the fabric is moving around them and the birds and everything, and I'm not gonna read the back. You can read the back if you want, just don't tell me what it says. But we've got fox and snake, bird. I'm gonna open it up. Oh, look at that! Look at that! The amount of joy that these covers give me can never be over-exaggerated. The color schemes make me so damn happy. I'm so excited! We're back in the building! There's a goddamn elephant! Why is there an elephant? Who summoned the elephant, man? Yeah, so we've got bird, snake, fish, and then elephant. And foxes. It's a lot of animals there. Have we have a look at the interior illustration? Oh, that's the map. Ooh! The rivers are in blue now. Again, the way the... Oh, okay, and we've got the Xianbei Mountains on that. They weren't there on there before, were they? Don't think so. Okay. The interior illustration. Ah! Look at Lang Lu! Look at them! They actually look at peace with each other. They're so fucking pretty. Okay. It's always a good start. The first chapter is entitled One Trouble After Another. Okay. I am so excited! Oh. This series gives me so much joy. I'm so excited to be back. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed. If you like Legend of Exorcism, I have many more videos on it on here and on TikTok and my other social medias. You can follow me on like Instagram and Blue Sky. I'm also streaming, reading the books. So if you want to join and chat about the books, do so. And listen to me reading them, because it's really fun. Thank you for watching. I hope that your day contains some of the whimsy of Legend of Exorcism, not the existential dread. Have a good day. Bye!